So a while back, an '88 Jeep YJ followed us home, and it's been sitting here and there. We've done a little bit of work to it, just to uh, just to say we were doing something to it, but we really haven't done anything major. When we got it, it was pretty nice shape for what it is. The body tub itself is actually really nice, but there's basically no interior in it when we got it, which is okay. I mean, it was real easy to see what we had as far as the tub goes, so that was nice. But believe it or not, YJ parts aren't quite as easy to come by in my neck of the woods as I thought they might be. So that might be a little bit of an issue. But you know what? Even if we have to kind of home build some panels, we can do that too. So I'm not really too concerned about that. Anyway, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna throw a battery in this thing. Bought it, was told that it would run, but we've never heard it run. So that's gonna be our number one. We're gonna throw a battery in here, test out some electrical stuff, but the big thing is we want to hear this thing run. We want to see it drive down the road, and then it's going to be a whole lot easier to get involved in the project, and real excited about making this happen. So a couple of things I got to do right quick before we get too excited about getting this thing started is I got to loop my tranny cooler lines so I don't pump out all the tranny fluid all over the floor, if there is any. Hopefully there is. Also, I'm going to have to put a radiator in it and get my water pump running somehow so that I can, ideally I'd like to get it, just drive it around the block, make sure everything's going to work. I know the brakes work. We figured that out when we were driving it back, or towing it back here behind the truck. So yeah, looking forward to getting this thing lit off. Now, the first thing we're gonna do, just to make this easier, is we're gonna pop that nasty old hood off in just a second. But one beautiful thing about the old Jeep life, just pop them doors off like nobody's business, and then make it easy for hopping in and out and doing checks and starting things up and whatnot. One thing I can't stress enough when a guy's taking something like this apart, just do your future self a favor. Throw the fasteners in a cheap dollar store plastic bag and keep that stuff all together. Big thing, write on it what it is. You think you'll remember, but you ain't gonna remember. So just bag it and tag it. Better keep this hood nice and close to where we're working, because definitely some of that is going to become patch panels for the rest of the Jeep tub. Now this little shot is more or less just for me, so that I can look back on it and go through it in slow motion and remember where all this crap goes. Now, this will not be the first time you hear me say this, but for the first time, the moment of truth, will it turn over? Oh, like butter. I knew that guy wouldn't screw us over on this. Just kidding, I was kind of scared. It turns over real easy. I guess I got a pretty big bar on here. Well, it's got to be worthwhile whirling it over with the starter, doesn't it? Let's see how that works. So a couple of things I got to do right quick before we get too excited about getting this thing started is I got to loop my tranny cooler lines so I don't pump out all the tranny fluid all over the floor, if there is any. Hopefully there is. Also, I'm going to have to put a radiator in it and get my water pump running somehow so that I can, ideally I'd like to get it, just drive it around the block, make sure everything's going to work. I know the brakes work. We figured that out when we were driving it back, or towing it back here behind the truck. So yeah, looking forward to getting this thing lit off. Well, thanks to Tim from 318 Well Run. He just put out a real good video about starting a vehicle that's been sitting for a long time. I honestly have no idea how long this thing's been since it started. So I'm gonna follow a couple of ideas that he had, and that's gonna help me make sure we don't make a mess of this engine when we're just trying to get it running and saved. Another thing I should do, I suppose, is I should check and see if there's any oil in this rig. Ooh, actually looks pretty good. Not clean enough to look like maybe it was just changed, but clean enough to maybe it was taken care of. I'm not too scared about starting it with that oil in there because, yeah, because that looks pretty decent. Now, it's painfully obvious to me that I don't need to worry about trying to check the antifreeze, because if there's any in there at all, it's just going to pump out all over the place due to a lack of radiator and radiator hoses and whatnot like that. Oh, we got oil. We got no antifreeze. I guess I maybe should ought to check and see if there's anything on that transmission dipstick. Now, you're seeing all these things just as I'm seeing them. So, okay. Shows a little over full, which is maybe nerve-wracking. Smells like tranny fluid. Doesn't smell burnt or nothing. Ugh. Tastes like tranny fluid. That reminds me why I don't do that. I think that should be good enough. We should be able to start it looking like that. Now, let's see. We put my nice new Interstate battery in there. The last couple batteries I bought, I've got from Interstate, and for no other reason that I can get them cheap through the shop my wife works for. But I gotta say, these things they're real good compared to a lot of the junk that I've bought lately. So here we go. Got the negative on, just somewhat loose. Let's take the positive, and let's just see if we get any arky sparky. No, we got no arky sparky. Let's put these, oh, there's a little bit of a snap there. Now, the way I sees it, I'm just going to put these on nice and light and loose, because if the proverbial poop hits the fan and we start smelling electrical smoke or something like that, I got to be able to get those things off there in a quick hurry. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the key turned on, and I'm going to see if I can hear any action back at the fuel pump, because that's one thing I don't super love electric in-tank fuel pumps, just from a reliability standpoint. I know the newer ones are better, but these first few years of fuel injection, they super stink. So I really am hoping this thing's gonna have an operable fuel pump. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna listen for this fuel pump. When I tell you to turn it on, like I said, just turn the key forward like I said.
Okie dokie.
Okay, go ahead. Off. Again. Well, I don't hear nothing.
Turn it off?
Yeah. I guess it's worthwhile sticking a gallon or so of gas in there and seeing if it pumps. It'll suck if I do that, and then we have to pull the tank down because whatever. We'll give her a try. So I'm not convinced that I've got a reliable supply of fuel from the tank to the throttle body, but you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna try and start it, spray a little bit of schmutz down the throttle body, and see if it lights and runs. At least I don't know if I've got ignition and whatnot like that. So let's give her a whirl. I'm excited. I think it's gonna run. I think it's gonna run off the tank. I think it's gonna be good. But you know how that goes. Okay. See if the pump's gonna pump just till the red light comes on. Okay, spin it over. Well, that was easy. Sounded like shit, but it runs.
It does?
You know, the funny thing is, I never even thought to look what was under this thing for exhaust. Well, I was so danged excited that it ran. I never even thought to see if it would run continuously, like off of the fuel pump. So let's give that another go.
Alright, ready for a lap round.
Okay, let's try that again, girl.
All the way?
Yep. Whoop. Okay, try it. Yeah, see, it's just running off of what I sprayed in the carburetor in the throttle body. So we must not have fuel coming up here. You know what? I don't even care. The fact that it runs, I'm ecstatic. Well, I'm freaking excited. I've never really done something like this. The last time I drug an old vehicle out that'd been sitting for a long time, I didn't even really try to get it running. I just tore the thing apart instead, which was kind of stupid. So I'm really excited that this is as close as it is. I know the engine runs. I know I've got a fuel problem, which chances are it's that pump. When M turned the key, I didn't hear anything. And I tried to pretend that I heard something, but I didn't. I'm sure I didn't. So anyway, that's going to be kind of my next deal, is mess around and try and get actual fuel pressure up there. Maybe get a cooling system on this thing and stuff the rear drive shaft back in it. Then maybe me and the owner of this Jeep will go out and rip some donuts or something like that, just for fun. Anyway, when that happens, I'll make sure I take you guys along with us, and thanks for watching.